Hey everyone, welcome back to Trailbreaker. Last week, I built this portable landing ramp to go with that kicker ramp. And with one small modification, it turns into a pretty fun kicker ramp on its own. I wasn't gonna do a video on it, but I got quite a few questions and requests for it. And since it's a crappy rainy day, let's go and take a look at it. Stick around.
I didn't shoot any video during the build, so I'm disassembling it so you can see the layout. I used 2x4s, 2x2s, 3/4 inch plywood for the sides, and 7/16 plywood for the decking. If you don't want to rip the 3/4 inch plywood down to 3.5 inch strips, just use 1x4 pine boards instead. Here are my high-tech plans with dimensions. For the angle, I just figured about 14 inches tall and a little over 3.5 feet long, and that seemed about right. Using my bench edge as the ground, I used a framing square to trace the vertical line. I used a bevel gauge to find the angle, transferred it to the miter saw, and made the cut. I used the bench edge to find the horizontal line. Using the same angle, I ripped a 2x4 for the top of the frame. Now I'm laying out the lower frame. Since I used red Loctite on all of the leg bolts, I couldn't remove 2 of the 4 legs. Just pretend you don't see them. I pre-drilled all of the screws with a countersink bit to prevent splitting the wood. All of the frame screws are 2.5 inch exterior screws. And all of the decking screws are 1.25 inch drywall screws. Same thing for the extension.
So this is probably the hardest part of the build. I wanted to have the legs on the ramp and the extension to be able to fold in. And so I just decided to use some 5/16 by 3.5 inch carriage bolts. And in order to allow them to swing, I had to do, as you can see here, I just had to round the inside face, and I just did that on a belt sander. But you could use a jigsaw for that too. So the dimensions for this cutout is in the plans that I showed earlier. The important thing to note is the difference between the legs that go on the extension and the ones that go on the ramp. They both are the same distance from the ground to the notch, but there's a little more room that's allowed on the extension because I've got more room. This one is cut down because of the angle of the ramp. So in order to secure the legs and to be able to fold them, I drilled a 5/16 hole through this 2x4 into the leg. And you just need to be careful that you drill it to miss the screw that holds the side to that 2x4. And when you drill, try to drill straight and go all the way through this 2x4 and through the leg. And you'll notice into that portion of the leg, I inserted one of these threaded inserts, and this is a 1/4-20 threaded insert, and use the 1/4-20 joint connector bolts to hold them in place. And these use a 4mm hex, which you've probably got on your multi-tool. And just make sure to install these hinges with the barrel facing out. So originally this was going to be it. Then I thought, as I was folding it up, wouldn't it be cool if I could set it up so it would actually have a little bit of a lip like this? So I went ahead, just grabbed a scrap piece of wood, kind of eyeballed what I thought would be good, clamped it up, kind of eyeballed it, and thought, yeah, that'd be good. So again, I took my trusty bevel gauge, figured out what that angle was, cut it onto some short 2x4 sections, and then just kind of lined them up with enough overlap that I could hinge this and get it out of the way if I needed to. So I ended up doing a 4-inch carriage bolt here, and then I drilled a 1/4-inch through hole just for some 1/4-inch bolts to hold it in place once it's extended. So here it is all folded up. Just so I don't lose any of the hardware, I keep those bolts kind of threaded in just finger tight so they don't get lost. I keep a 4mm hex just kind of sticking through a snug hole in the frame. On this side, same thing. I keep the 1/4-inch bolts and the joint connector bolts threaded in. And to keep this thing from kind of falling up, unfolding while I'm moving it around and maybe pinching my fingers, I installed a hitch pin that goes through and joins both sides. This project was a lot of fun to build, and it's even more fun to ride. It may even be screaming for a third section. I don't know, we'll see. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're like me and just refuse to act your age, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching.